Hey everybody, it's Amanda Schertzer, part of your Lightworkers support team. This is the October Q&A for Patreon, and as a special treat for YouTube, I did a little poll to see who you wanted me to channel this month in honor of Halloween and spooky season. And it looks like you have picked the Salem Witches, or their Accusers, so that'll be interesting. Second was Lizzie Borden, and then the rest of them, not as much interest. I tried to wear my witch's hat today, but it's a little overwhelming. It's kind of big, so instead of that, I put on a different hat and my little witch trick-or-treat pin in honor of the Salem witches, which weren't really witches, but you know. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so I was scanning down through the names of the accusers and the accused, and there are so many. So I'm not going to go through all of those. I know there were a group of girls who said they were afflicted, so I'll concentrate on them. But first, I just want to. I was trying to get a feel for the village in that sort of atmosphere at the time. Which I think the first accusation was like around July of 1609 or something like that. I could be wrong. 1692, sorry. Watching, what's that other show? Discovery of Witches. Maybe they're in 1609 or 1509 or something. Anyway, so I was looking around at the village. Not a lot of people there. Everyone just going about their business, taking care of what they need to take care of. Everyone seems polite to each other when they meet, but they may complain about them once they're home by themselves or with their immediate family. Complaints about other people for various reasons. Seems like not being able to see the other person's side because they're, they have to do what they have to do, and, if you're not the one that does X in the village, then, maybe you don't know what all that entails. I can't see a whole lot of people in the town, so I'm looking sort of out in the fields to see. I guess there are a lot of people out doing things out in the fields. There's still a few people in the town walking back and forth. I see a woman carrying a basket. I see there's like a little garden space, not teeny tiny. I mean, it's a good sized garden in the town, which seems odd to me because it seems like they have fields all around them. See the buildings. Doesn't feel like a bad thing. All right, so let me move forward to where the girls are starting to accuse people. I want to see what's making them like scream and say they're being bitten and stuff like that. Getting a little vibe of them feeding off of each other. They're kind of bored. But the adults are really strict. It's like they have two personalities. they have kid personalities when they're, together on their own, and then, when an adult comes, they're just like sitting up straight and, yes, sir, yes, Mr. Whatever. Um, it's like they feel like immediately they feel like they've done something wrong if there's an adult around. It may be to do with their religious upbringing or whatever. They need to be a certain way, and kids are just notoriously going to do their own thing because they're just learning the world and stuff. You ever been to like a birthday party or something, or you're hanging out with a friend and one of you gets spooked by something, and then the other one is like, then they were fine, but then they start to get spooked by stuff that's not even a thing. That's the feeling that I'm getting around these girls. Like, it's like one of them heard the parents talking or the father talking. More. I mean, I'm sure they talked about this in church and stuff, but someone is overhearing more the adults talking about witches and afflictions and what they can do, and it just started like that. Like one of them got a tiny spider bite or something, and they're like, oh my god, something hurt me, oh my gosh, I can't see anything, and then the other girls started like, oh, I feel it too, and I blah, blah, blah. And they just got, like, it just fed itself, basically. Like, the more you put your energy into thinking about that, the more ways you can find that that's what's happening. And because the adults believe them, and the adults don't give them credit for anything at that time, but because the adults were sort of acknowledging that that's what it was a witch, and encouraged them to tell them about it. The first people that popped into their head, it's probably like, who are the adults complaining about most in the town? Who did you overhear saying somebody was a witch in the town? It's probably all subconscious, but if you're asked who's doing this to you, then you're looking for an answer in your mind, and that's who it is. It's who everybody's been talking about, or who somebody has a complaint about. I feel like it got a little out of control too. Like the girls, once they saw that people were going to really be hung based on what they said, they kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But they didn't really have a choice. They're kind of stuck in it. I feel like there was only two or three of them though that really still believed. The rest of them were like, I'm not, what if it's not really them? I don't want to be the one to, say it and then they're killed. Like, what if I'm wrong? Because there's a whole religious, like, if I do the wrong thing, I might go to hell. If I don't do the right thing, I might go to hell. So they're kind of like really caught, and really, I feel really torn apart emotions, and some of these girls specifically, it's an older one or some older ones. I feel the ones closer to whoever the religious, what do you call it, minister, preacher, or whatever, whoever the reverend is there. A few of these girls are just really believing that what they're saying is coming, God is helping them say who these witches are. I was looking to see, like, I had watched some kind of documentary years ago that was talking about some kind of. I should have looked this up. I always do this. I saw this thing, and there was this thing. It was like something to do with the wheat, some kind of mold or something that grew on the wheat or something that could give them like convulsions and stuff like that could have, started the whole thing and then made them think that, they were being harmed by people, witches, when they weren't. But I'm not seeing any of that. I'm not feeling a health issue. And it seems like because the children were, they knew their place, so to speak, and they knew how they were supposed to act, how the adults expected them to act. And when all the adults turned their attention on them and were so concerned, that sort of added an extra level of acknowledgement that, oh, this must be true, so I need to continue doing this. This must be the right thing to do. All the adults are, looking to us, so it must be like they never do this, so it must be valid. Some of the adults, especially the accused, are horrified that they're being accused. I mean, they are go to church, devoted to God people. The only thing I noticed about them is that when they went home, not all of them, but a lot of them, behind closed doors, prayed for themselves, not their neighbors, not their accusers. A few prayed for their accusers. There's some woman in particular who is like, she's older, and she's not only praying for her accusers, but she's asking God to help her be a better person. Kind of like, I wouldn't be accused if I was a better person. Help me to be a better person and help those people to see that they're wrong. Fill their hearts with love, with your love, kind of thing. Mostly, the accused are just in disbelief. Like, surely you don't believe that I am capable of doing this. I've been your neighbor. You know me. I wouldn't do something like that. Why? I don't know why these girls are accusing me, but it's not me. I'm not doing it. I don't know anything about witchcraft or demons or devils or I feel like most of them just thought, just tell the truth, and surely they would all see that they're telling the truth and everything would be fine. And it wasn't. And they're just in disbelief. They're just in utter disbelief. And oddly, they're not questioning God, they're questioning themselves. They're like, well, if God's letting this happen, then I must have done something wrong, or there must be some reason that I'm not seeing. They're not giving themselves any credit for anything. They just think, I thought I was doing what I was supposed to, but maybe I wasn't. And not all of them. Some of them are very angry. And calling out, like, how can you be so stupid? There's a lot of upset people in the town, but and they want to protest, and they do in a meek way, but they also don't want to get accused of witchcraft and hung. Like their family and their friends. And they're having to appeal to like the more powerful people in the town, the men that have a voice. They're appealing to those men, like, do something, get somebody from outside of here to come in and take control of this, because this is getting out of control. They're accusing everybody. Everybody's accusing everybody. It's just getting bigger and bigger. And some of the men are saying you can't just take these girls' word for it. You know, what proof do you have other than them saying they're being attacked? Or, you know, my pig died and, you know, goody so-and-so was mad because they got into her cabbage, or I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah, there were a lot of people appealing to, you know, the men that people would actually listen to do something, but they either thought they were doing it right, or looks like in one case it was just taking longer to get word out to someone to come. Maybe a couple people wrote letters or something, or sent somebody to find somebody to help get it under control, because it turned into a bad atmosphere in the town. Like, nobody even wanted to say hello to anybody, but nobody wanted to not say hello, you know, and be accused, and everybody's staying away from the girls, but then if you stay away from the girls, then maybe they'll accuse you. And did I ever do anything to the girls to tell them to be quiet because they were playing too loud? Or, you know, it's just like, there's like a dark, I don't want to say a dark energy as in a dark force came into the town, but there's just like an unpleasant energy all through the town. Like, nobody's happy. And these hangings, it's like well, it's funny. I feel a weight on my chest, like that guy that got crushed to death between the rocks, and I can just feel that pressure. But it's not just me feeling the pressure of the rocks. It's the feeling on the hearts of everybody. It's just like, it's like everybody's hearts being pushed down, the good feelings being like covered, pushed, repressed. It wasn't until everything was over and people apologized for acting too quickly to, you know, hang those people who are accused. And when the people started apologizing, like, I don't know what came over me. I don't know why I thought it was them. I thought I was doing the right thing. I'm sorry. It wasn't until that got acknowledged that people started to get a little lighter again. I feel like some people moved away, and I just wanted to get away from it because I couldn't stand the memories of it. I'm going to ask, what was the purpose of that whole thing? Was there a purpose to it? Was there a reason for it? Like a spiritual reason for that whole thing? I feel like it's to do with having to really consider issues, having to really talk to a lot of people, know the background of the situation, knowing what led up to it, and to use the you know, try to look more at a bigger picture. It's starting to open consciousness up from me awareness, to us, the world, circumstances, emotions, like all these aspects need to be considered in any situation. You can't just, well, you can, but see what happens when you just snap judgment based on, your opinion and one person's opinion. You have to know, it was the beginning of, you need to look at all these different aspects to get the whole picture. And it's for us as well. It's for us to say, well, they believed this, and this is any negative event in history. You can look back and say, well, look what was going on at the time. They believed this in their religion, this thing was happening. They didn't know what to do when X happened, and these people were in control, and this was the way they did the law. And, and this is just the mix of things that led to that. And we should be able to do that maybe in our time too, and say, like, why are people angry? Why are people disagreeing? Are we just looking at our perspective, or are we taking into account the emotions, stuff that's going on in everyone's lives, the stuff that's going on in our culture right now? What are we having troubles with in our culture? Why are people angry at each other? What can we do to solve that? I feel like that's a good reason to look at this. Let me see if there's any of the accusers or the victims that want to say anything, want to pass along a message. There's a male, I don't remember a male being hanged, but okay. So there's a male that was hanged, and he says he volunteered. He's very happy that he volunteered to do that because he knew it would save other people's lives. If he was one of the first, it would be a big deal. They would resolve it fairly quickly by their standards. And it would save hundreds and thousands of other people from the same fate. So he was happy to, on a spiritual level, he was happy to do it to stop it from going bigger. He says, I said, did you forgive your accusers? He said, oh yes, we all had a big party on this side. Okay, well, that's all for the Salem Witches. I'm still thinking about doing Lizzie Borden. For some reason, I'm just really interested in that. So I might still do that. I don't know, or I might save it for next year. We are about to do the questions from my Patreon patrons. Do a little, does the earth have an iron core? If not, what is it made of? Is the earth considered a crystal? What type of crystal? What are the spiritual properties of gold? And then we're going to do about a question about shadow work. And then incarnation is part of the 3D experience. What's the highest density that one can incarnate into, assuming frequency match is not a problem? So if you're interested in hearing about those things, head on over to patreon.com/TTH, and I will see you over there. And if not, have a lovely October and happy Halloween, and I'll see you next time.